this tutorial, we are going to be measuring the real-time data from EMB energy measurement bus using our OPC and Node-RED to visualize the real-time data. Let's get it started. So the first thing you are going to do is open your command prompt and type in Node-RED. Once you do that, click on enter. What we need here is just the IP address for our Node-RED. Here we are going to copy and paste the Ctrl+C and paste it to a browser. So I'm going to be using Google Chrome. Then click on enter. So our Node-RED will appear. These are the previous one I've done, but we just need to add new flow. So we are going to make use of this. Another thing you need to do is you are going to open your USPath software. USPath software is a full function of OPC. What we are going to do, one thing you have to understand is that if you want to collect your data, capture your data from EMB, you have to make sure your EMB IP address is similar to your PC IP address. If not, you won't be able to connect to the server. You'll be able to communicate with the devices won't be able to communicate with each other. So make sure the IP address are similar. One thing we are going to do now is we are going to add server. Now we are going to, let me delete this. This is the previous one. We are going to double click on add to server. The IP address for the EMB, we have to know it. So the IP address is 172.821.28.60. Lastly, we are going to add our default OPC port. So default OPC port number is 4840. So we are going to add 4840. So with that, click on OK. Automatically your address will appear beneath it. So expand this. Once you expand it, you can see the component, the name, now OPC server, and the energy you can see with the IP address. So expand that and double click on the none. Because I have it already here, that's why you see it's already contains the server. But just click on OK. It will appear on the left top corner on the project. So what you need to do is just connect this to server. You can right click and you can also click on this icon. So if you right click, you see connect. So it's connect and all the components will appear on the address space. So all we need to do is to capture the data we want to make use. So the data we want to make use is our energy. We are going to capture our energy, active energy. So you open your device set, expand this, expand your resources, expand your application. From here you have to expand global VAS. So expand that, you expand DVL, and you can see these are all the things you can monitor. So I'm going to expand my power meter. So my power meter, so I'm going to expand my active energy, then the average. Don't forget this value is in Joule. So you can see it's in Joule, and we have this is the value you want to monitor. Automatically it's changed. You can use your timer to indicate every time you want to, maybe 1 second, 2 seconds, every 2 seconds you want to get it. So what we are going to do now, and that thing you have to understand is you have to know that are very important is the attributes. So there are two things we need to know here: the node ID and the data type. So the node ID, this is the node ID, this is the data type float. So we are coming back to this because we are going to make use of it. Go back to your Node-RED, and on the Node-RED you have to drag and drop some nodes. We are going to drag and drop our inject now, and then we go to the node OPC node. You drag and drop your item, you drag and drop your client, and also for the visualization you have to go to our dashboard and choose the node that we want to make use of. These two nodes can be used, but I'm going to make use of this gauge. So let's make use of this gauge. Now you connect everything together. As you can see, most of the node has some error, like you see arrow with triangle with amber color. So we have to do some settings. Double click on the inject and change the repeat from none to interval, and you can put any time you want, any maybe 0.1 seconds depending on what you want to use it for. So now click on done. After that, double click on your item. So you remember what I told you about the item node ID. So we have to go back to our USPath and copy our node ID. So the node ID, click on copy, go back to your go back to your Node-RED and paste what you just copied. Then you remember the data type I said float, so you go back and click on done. We are done with that. Double click on your client, and then you need your endpoint URL. So to get that, you have to go click on add. To get that, you have to go back to our OPC USPath, and then double click, right click on this. Once you right click on this, you click on properties. From properties, you'll be able to see the endpoint URL. So you highlight everything and copy. Then go back to your Node-RED and paste it to the endpoint. Yeah, so from that, click on add, and leave the action to read. So I'll click on done. Lastly, we are going to configure our gauge, so double click on that. Now this group is just how you want it to display on your dashboard. So what we are going to do, add. Now tab, which tab? You can also add a new tab. So the new tab, now let's make our new tab, maybe let's say EMB monitor. EMB monitor. Then our icon, we can make it energy. Click on add. Yes, so here you can make it EMB, and then click on add. So these are the things. Our type is gauge. So label, you can change your label. Let's change our label to energy, and you can also put the SI unit we want to use. Let's use kilojoule, and this unit also, let's change it to kilojoule. So here the minimum range from 0, let's change this then to 100, and this sector is just to change the color. For instance, if I want to make 0 to 50 to be green, yeah, I can also change the color, but let's leave it that way. 0 to 50, from 0 to 50 to be green. Now from 50 to 80 will be yellow, and from 80 to 100 will be red. So that is how it works. Now we are going to click on deploy. So once we click on deploy, you can see now successfully deployed. And if you notice, all those arrow has gone because we've done the normal settings. And from the OPCUA client, you can see active reading. So it's working. For us to be able to see our dashboard, we are going to copy the address, the IP address for the node thread to another tab on the browser. So Control V, and you had UI. Make sure the UI is in small letter. So now, yeah, the previous one we've done. So this is what we just did. Now you can see now EMB monitor. So the EMB monitor. Now, if you can see this data is in joule, we have to convert it back to kilojoule, and also change the decimal place maybe to 2 decimal place, or 3 decimal place, or 1 decimal place. But let's change it to 1 decimal place. Now, how are we going to do that? You are going to invite your function. Now, the function node is used for conversion when you want to convert or you want to modify your data, the captured data. So what I'm going to do now is just to invite the function, click, drag and drop, then delete this, connect the client to the function. So once it's modified, the function is connected to the energy. So what we are going to do now, remember, on Node-RED, the code used in Node-RED is JavaScript. So you have to understand that it's JavaScript. So what we are going to do is that we are going to type some code, message.payload. So payload, that is, this one mean our data equals to, firstly, let's change it to kilojoule because it's in joule. Let's change it to kilojoule equals to message, the same message again, message.payload, then we divide by 1000 to make it that, change it to kilojoule. So now go back to the next step. The next step, what we want to do now is for us to make our decimal points, to make it in 2 decimal points, 2 decimal place. So what we are going to do is that now another code we are going to write is message.payload now equals to pass floats, now open brackets, message payload, message again dot payload. Now what we are going to do, what we are going to put now is to feast, make sure that it is small letter and the F is capital letter, to feast, and open brackets 2. That means we are changing it to do decimal point, and you can see those options now. Number, so you can see now that number means that is our data, our raw data, and that is the payload. So you can see the option now, put in letter if you want it. So you can see fraction, digits. So now it's 2. From here we are done with this code, and click on done. Now what we've done, now we can also deploy. So once you deploy, let's go back to our reading from the tab. Now select it. So you can see this, we've modified the raw data to our own preference. Remember, the raw data is in kilojoule with numerous decimal point, and now we've modified it to be able to be more readable and easy to access. Now we can easily make use of this. Now this is the end of this tutorial, and do well to subscribe for more and to encourage me to do more of this. You have a lot of tutorial in the bank, so make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel for more. Thank you very much. See you in the next episode.